Hello, what's up? Moses here, bringing another Path of Exile video, and this time, something about Masters. Now, I finished a 20-hour stream marathon. It was kind of awesome, and I'm kind of tired. But I've been asked quite a couple of questions, and I wanted to kind of like talk with you and explain a little bit about a couple of the Masters that we can talk about today. So, over here in the bog map, you see there's a symbol of a beast. This means that if we enter a bog map, that means that Einar uh, will spawn over there, and there will be beasts. Okay, now this is a mechanic from the Bestiary League that PoE GGG are bringing into the core of the game. So it's going to be a part of the core game from Betrayal, which happened just 3 days ago. So awesome. We're going to have Einar. This is an extremely simplified version of what it used to be. Okay, so basically, you'll see those beasts. They're going to show up on the minimap. Okay, and you're going to kill them. When you kill them, they're not actually dead. Einar is going to capture them for you, and then you will be able to, once you gather enough beasts, you'll be able to go and visit Menagerie. If you talk to him in your hideout, of course you have to invite him to your hideout. If you go and you see the Menagerie, you'll just go over here. You could go and visit the beasts and whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters here is that these beasts create recipes, and with these recipes you can hide unusable, and you can see there's a bunch of stuff that you can now craft. This is the Altar of Sacrifice. It's an extremely simplified and much more fun version of Bestiary League that was somewhat complicated and people had some trouble with. So here, for example, I can create a fully linked 6-socket rare. Seems good, right? This is from Bestiary because I found a sack of wine vulture. So let's show you that and just do it. You just press craft and guess what? All the beasts that you capture are coming back, and you just go to Blood Altar and wow, we got a level 78 armor energy shield, 6 link, which is extremely valuable because we're just starting out the league and people need that kind of stuff. And actually rolled not too bad because we can get triple resistance here. And it has some life, so GG to us. That's pretty good for totem characters actually. They want red and blue, so right, so you can craft unique jewels, you can craft helmets, like whatever monsters you found, right? So the more you explore the atlas, the more you'll find, the more the more beasts you're going to be able to find, and that means that you're going to be able to get more recipes for more items. Create unique is awesome. There's currency items that you can create. There is add a mod to a flask of heat, of dowsing, of staunching. For example, if you want, bleed removal from a flask, awesome. Just random beasts that you've captured, and it will get the add staunching on a suffix, so you won't have to reroll it with alterations. For example, there's a bunch of other recipes, but we're only looking at the ones that you've acquired. You have to have the recipes once you capture certain beasts, and we have no control on what beasts spawn, but when we see beasts we do want to kill them so that Einar will capture them, and we have the recipes over here. This is the entire league mechanic. That's all you need to know. I am actually not entirely sure. He used to sell nets, and with those nets you would capture the beasts, and then you will have a beast item, and then that item will have a name, and you would trade it. You could make a lot of chaos doing that, and exalts. There used to be like super expensive bestiary beasts that you could sell, and people would do trading with the actual beasts. But now it's not the case. He doesn't seem to be selling these nets, and let's go to the menagerie for a second. Just check. I don't have any beasts over here. Do I have something over here? I don't know. My bestiary is kind of empty. right now. Okay, so we have this guy. Can I capture him? No, I can't capture him. So yeah, you used to be able to capture him with a net, but now you don't seem to be able to capture him. But yeah, it used to be, it's in my opinion a very underrated league. I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. It was a lot more complicated, but like it's all over now. Because now it's a super simplified version. There's no nets, there's no trading. You just find the beast that you find, and you know, find the recipes, and you craft yourself some unique items. Sometimes you get some good stuff, and I just got myself a pretty nice chest, so we can add flat life, increase armor, energy shield, and flat life, for example, or whatever. You know, we can do whatever we want. We can add. Oh, this is a pretty solid craft. Maximum life and maximum mana. 5 and 8. Seems good. So I don't know. We're gonna post it here for like what? 40C, you think? 45C? Sure. 6 link are pretty expensive this early in the league, and this one actually rolled pretty okay with that craft. Seems good. Okay, so second master I want to talk about is Niko. Niko you can access through either the waypoint and you go to the mines, or you can just talk to him and then visit mine encampment. The same goes for Einar. You can go to the Bestiary over here. So this is Niko. At first when you start, this is the first mine shaft. You enter through here, and this is going to be your entrance, right? So you're going to need to gather these sulfite nodes. Sorry, these azurite nodes. See, it says contains azurite in blue, right? So you'll have this crawler, you'll start right over here, and then you start moving around. The more you move, like the deeper you go, the more expensive the sulfite is going to be. The sulfite is the resource that fuels the crawler, right? And you have a darkness debuff over here. When you stand in the darkness, you see this darkness debuff right here? It stacks, and it's never ending, right? It's infinite. Infinite stacking debuff that will kill you if you stand long enough. The deeper you go, the more darkness, it's called the darkness, right? That's the darkness debuff. The deeper you go, the more darkness resistance you're going to need. So you have all these type of mods like light radius, darkness resistance, and yeah, flares, dynamites, and all that kind of stuff that you're going to be needing to upgrade. How are you going to be upgrading it? You're going to be upgrading it with azurite. The deeper you go, the more azurite you're going to be getting from the azurite vaults and azurite fissures and azurite cavities. So yeah, the fissure, you see, it's like a tier 3. See the Roman number 3 here? This is tier 2. This is tier 1, right? And it requires certain sulfite to travel. Right now, I only have 162. This is the sulfite bar right now. And my cap is 5,000. But when you start, it's not going to be 1,000. It's going to be a lot lower. And sulfite is the material, right? The fuel for the crawler. You're going to be getting it from maps. So you're going to be mapping. Sometimes Niko is going to spawn. This is a bestiary map. I currently don't have the symbol for Niko, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't know if it shows anywhere, but it's basically like a little gray circle. That's all. It's like a gray circle with dots around it. That's all. And when a map is surrounded by this gray circle, Niko is going to spawn there, right? And when Niko spawns, that means also sulfite is guaranteed to spawn. And when sulfite is there, you can click on it. It will fill up your azurite, your sulfite cap. And when you have sulfite, you can go down to the mines and start traveling with your crawler. Okay, so here I just want to talk to you about what you should prioritize, because I get that a lot. A lot of people are not familiar with what's going on. So you should really early on prioritize azurite. Okay, just focus, go to the shortest path to where you have most Azurite nodes. See, they sometimes spawn really close to each other, and sometimes you have like 3 or 4 in a row. Like I remember I had to go here and here. We had like tier 2 Azurite cavity. See, Azurite vault over here, Azurite cavity. This is just a hive, but there's some Azurite. There's some Azurite, and I already done all these nodes. See, this is why I went here. More Azurite. The idea here is that it requires Azurite for you to upgrade. See the blue numbers right here? It requires this amount of Azurite for you to upgrade either the light radius, the darkness res, the sulfite capacity. And you need to upgrade those things. Focus on capacity first, and then some light radius, and then cap out your darkness resist. The darkness resist caps out at 75, okay? At this point right now, I got 5,000 sulfite capacity. I'm fine with 5,000. This is where I stop investing completely. And I went there first because I wanted to be able to gather the sulfite that I'm getting in maps. Okay, it sounds complicated, but it really isn't. It's very simple. But just stay with me here. So you get your sulfite capacity at 5,000, and at that point you just invest in a little bit of light radius, because otherwise you'll just die. You need the light radius because, you know, the deeper you go, the darker it becomes. Right? Let's load in. And you need that light radius because, yeah, and you need a darkness resist. Like you see, this is pretty lethal. And here I got negative darkness resist, so this is depth level 104, for example. Good thing we're trappers, we're getting some regen. So yeah, this is your flare right here. Flare radius is also pretty small, and you can invest later on. It's more important that you go sulfite capacity and later go on into other things. But when you throw a flare, I currently have 4 out of 5 because I just threw one. It's gonna last for a certain amount of seconds and then it's gonna expire. Okay, it's important for you to get the capacity to like 3,000, 5,000, 5,000 most likely, and just invest all the Azurite that you find. Just try and get as much Azurite as possible. Okay, and just go down and down and down, because the lower you go, the more Azurite you get. And then just get your capacity to 5k, and then invest in some light radius and cap out, not all together, just cap out this one, but just cap out your darkness resist. And at this point you should be like in a place where you always like reach a point where you always have 75 darkness resist. In my opinion, that's the best way to go. But you know, of course it's up to you. When you have 75 darkness resist, you can stay for quite a long time in the darkness, and you can throw flares, and you can farm sideways, and you can get the crafting materials, which is the reason why you're going to the delve in the first place. So inside delve, you're getting, that's your incentive, right? Inside delve, you get these resonators, you get all these fossils, and essentially the fossils are like an alchemy with intent, right? You put a fossil inside a resonator. For example, this is let's get this frigid. Okay, so frigid resonator, a frigid fossil gives us more cold modifiers and no fire modifiers. So you put it in one, let's do chaotic resonator, and it creates this item. This is like an alchemy orb. And if we'll go, for example, and throw it over here, this will re-roll the item with more cold modifiers. Kapow! Cold damage to sword attacks, cold damage to attacks, and physical damage to sword attacks. This is not a terrible roll at all, because if you're doing any kind of stuff with swords, which is, you know, reasonable if you wanted to craft on a murderous eye jewel, then you have now 2 cold damage modifiers and some physical damage to cold that you may be converting. And this may be a pretty reasonable jewel for you if you're using a certain build. I think it's actually pretty solid, you know, at least for a league start. And since we already crafted it, I guess I can post it here for like, I don't know, maybe 4C. But the point is that it is more likely to give the cold modifications, right? The cold mods. So that's the whole point of fossils. There's also 2 socketed resonators, so you can get something like added cold and shuddering, for example. And then it will have more cold modifiers and more speed modifiers, right? And like you create all sorts of combinations from the fossils that you craft with, and there's a bunch of stuff that you can get. If you want to check out some of the awesome stuff I've done, I've crafted a bunch of really solid physical damage jewels for the you know, Scourge Arrow bow build, which is the Doomfletch Prism bow build with Scourge Arrow, which was actually pretty insane and turned out to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest build I've ever made in Path of Exile. And it's all thanks to fossils. They're extremely strong. So this is something you should know about, and this is something like for me it was a lot of fun doing delves, because you know you can just kind of like travel everywhere. This dungeon is infinite. You can go sideways. You have all sorts of Val cities. Right now, this is a really low level. This is why you want to go deep as fast as you can, because the deeper you go, the higher eye level the areas get. Higher eye level, the items drop, right? And that means you're going to be able to get higher zones, which will drop you higher tier maps. You're going to start getting higher tier maps. This is like 74 zones, like a tier 7 map, right? But around 250, I believe, 270, it becomes area level 83. Area level 83 is basically a tier 16 map. And inside area level 83 you can drop tier 16 maps, which are extremely valuable, and you can do Shaper and Elder and all that kind of stuff. So this is something that you want to do. Delve is kind of important for your map pool, for crafting, for a lot of currency. It's an awesome league mechanic. It was very fun league, and it's amazing that we get to have that from Betrayal from this point on throughout the entirety of the game. If you have more questions, feel free to hop in the stream, but just kind of like I wanted to give you in this video, I know it's pretty long and maybe it doesn't make too much sense, but just experiment, okay? If you're new to the game, this video is seriously just for you. If you're coming from the Diablos, if you used to watch me playing Diablo and you stayed and listened to all my explanations up until now, and props to you. But like, seriously, there's a bunch of good stuff happening in PoE, and I just can't wait to share all the joy of the game with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, hop into the stream. I'll be glad to answer all the stuffs, and I'm gonna be streaming all day long pretty much. So yeah, it's been 20 hours of stream. I think it's time for me to go to bed, so we're gonna do that. Not before I'm gonna record another video, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.